Welcome to a delicious episode of IQ HitList. Now, IQ HitList is Inconvenient Questions one-on-one interview that explores the views of an individual you want to hear about or hear from. I'm Vishwa Sadashivan. My guest today is a ridiculous guy. He's an icon, or so he thinks, in the local, if not regional food industry. He thinks he looks cute wearing something that covers his hair, which is scant, by the way. Even with or without the hat on his head.
Can we just get on with the questions?
With or without the hat on his head, he looks ridiculous. He has conducted safaris on various occasions in various parts of the world of the omnivorous variety. He is known as the authority, I'm kidding, on where to satisfy those hunger pangs in our island. Here to share his views on food, culture, and even politics is Mr. Kok Fye Seetoh, more popularly known as KF Seetoh of Makansutra fame. Thank you.
Who's that? Kok Fye.
Kok Fye.
Yeah, when Martha Stewart asked me what KF stands for, I said, don't you know, King of Food? I said,
There are
okay,
other things I can think of.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Anyway, listen, we have 15 minutes.
Okay.
So stop rambling.
Thank you very much.
I've already taken up a fair amount of time.
Already
All right.
12.
Okay. You have coined this term, die must try.
Right.
Why do you say that, and why is that so strongly associated with hawker food or street food?
This is like one of those stupid terms you come up with, right? Like you're fired or you're hired. Die must try is about culture. Singapore ain't got no language, ain't got no uniform, ain't got no song. Especially over the last 10 years. We are dressed down to nothing. What
No,
we
but
really
we've tried designing the Singapore dress, right?
Oh, man. You remember what it looked like?
A bit like you.
That was, yeah, that was a joke, right?
Yeah.
But look, we only got makan, right? And through makan, you find out about who you are. Through a plate of char kway teow, you find out about the people, the culture, how it came about. I know this is all very, Lee Kuan Yew and all that kind of stuff, but it's so bloody interesting. And through this, if you understand where you came from, you will know where you are going tomorrow. If you don't know where you came from, you are just a forager in this material forest.
No, but why must it be street food? Why can't it be in a restaurant? Why street food? Why do you feel that culture
Let's rewind
is...
to history.
Yeah.
The history. Yeah, Singapore got nothing. We had no flavors. I mean, the migrants came, all that. But you think all this, people who created all this bak kut teh or your roti johns or your Indian rojak, you think they were creative? No, man. They were desperate to the bone, man. If they don't come up with something that people will eat, they don't put a table in the middle of the streets, put a fire on top and cook something that people will buy, you mati. So it was desperate
And
food.
they had to succeed.
They
had to
or
differentiate.
die. Desperate food. There was nothing creative.
But the same applies to restaurants.
I don't know about today's restaurants. People eat brands. They eat stars. You keep reading all this new stuff. It's basically about the same. Putting stings on top of putting eggs, and you got muffins, and you got truffle, this and that, foie gras. But all this was about creation. Somebody was trying to be creative. Not because if I don't work, I die. I really, and I have no access to fine ingredients. I just got to work with whatever I have. You give me a bone, I'll turn it into a bak kut teh.
And you see, I was talking to a friend recently, and we were talking about places where people of different socio-economic class actually come together very comfortably, very comfortably. Of course, Kallang, everybody talks about Kallang Raw, where regardless of race, language, creed, class, everybody is there together. If you go to places like London, on the train, you could be standing next to the chairman of Rolls-Royce. Nobody really bothers. That's a meeting place for everybody. And people have said that the one permanent place in Singapore where people don't really care about what class you are is the hawker center.
Of course,
and you will find people who are multimillionaires, even billionaires, seated in the next table and slurping up
It's the most democratic place in Singapore. You go there, nobody cares who you are, what color, what creed. They only care that if your food sucks, habis. So that's where Singapore congregate.
Yeah. The real Singapore flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless of race, religion, truly down there.
Yeah.
And sure, people see it as a place where you go and eat cheaply and all that, but you peel into the second or third lapis of this hawker center cake, then you see that heartbeat.
And it's not about price, right? I mean, it's cheaper than a restaurant.
It's damn cheap. It's
It's
damn
not, but it's not just about price, right? So what is the reason why people actually love to congregate in a hawker center? It's not the cleanest of places.
It's, well, they're working on that,
Yeah.
so-called coming out a new, I've always said, if you don't reinvent the new breed of hawker centers to be relevant for the new generation, you're
And I hope they're not
finished.
going to air condition it, right? I mean, no, but
Work on the ventilation, work on space planning, and more importantly, work on the food.
you were on the panel, right? That were discussing hawker center design and the future hawker centers. Now, what do you think are the elements in a hawker center design,
I tell you what,
that makes it special?
That whole committee, they were talking about how big should the kitchen be? Oh, how high? Where should it air? Basically, we were designing death of the street food culture.
Why?
Nobody talked about continuity. Who's going to cook?
Yeah, that's the key.
Who's going to cook mee goreng for your children or your grandchildren? You'll be relegated to the museum. Wow, what's all this, man? How come I don't know? So if we don't address it, what are we? Lost. We are lost. And Singapore has a damn good food culture. The best thing they ever did to street food was move them out of the street, clean up the roads, clean up the drains, into hawker centers, and relocated everybody there cheaply and offered them what? Back in the day, $1.50, $2, $3. Even in today, people, you are bidding for $60,000, $70,000 COEs, and yet they complain about a $3 chicken rice.
Yeah. No, but let me go back to the question, Seetoh. What is it about the hawker center? I mean, Singaporeans, we can be quite fussy about, in a hot and humid place. We can be quite fussy about hygiene, cleanliness. We can be quite fussy about virtually everything, right? But somehow we still vacillate. We still keep going to the hawker center, as we said, regardless of which socioeconomic strata you're in. But what is it about the hawker center, the structure and the place, that is such a draw, apart from the food?
Like I said earlier, this is a place where people, firstly, people come here for feed.
Yeah.
It is a feeding place. Cheaply, it feeds the masses.
And variety.
And because of how we have unconsciously celebrated it now. Everybody, after speaking about Gordon Ramsay or Jamie Oliver, boom, nasi lemak comes up. They compare. And then this is that one temple that we house our love for this country in through hawker centers. Everything is there. The flavors, the people, the color. And you go there, nobody really cares. You just put your hair down,
And you're right, nobody really cares. You can be yourself. You can dress down.
Like you're going to a stadium and cheer.
You said in one of your interviews, you said this, and I found this very useful, very interesting. No culture of institutional continuity in this lucrative and well-loved food industry. Every old master who's calling it quits is like a few million living cells dying in our body without regeneration.
I said that.
You said that. I
So
don't know
many words in one
I don't know what
breath.
language that was, but
Sign
it
language.
smacks a bit of English. But what do you mean by that?
Continuity.
Yeah, but why is it dying? Do hawkers make money? Do hawkers make money?
My perception is this: when we built hawker centers, there are 107 of them. For the longest time, when I started Makansutra 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, people saw hawker centers with disdain. It was a place where ex-cons, murderers, and half-baked prostitutes and con-men had no way in life but to go there and become an entrepreneur. And mind you, many of them did very, very well. And today, a lot of people talk about bak chor mee and all that in one breath, And in 1986, when they built the last hawker center, and that was when they cut the umbilical cord. Everybody after 86 talked about being about doctor, lawyer, being about Vishwa, whatever he is today.
Yeah. Poor guys.
And so there was this dark era. And then suddenly, last 5 years, oh, there was this revival. Oh, 10 years, international stars come here. You know, they would sell you expensive stuff at their fancy restaurants, at the IRs. But at night, they go Geylang and Makansutra. And then they rave about it. I had Farhan Adria, you know, I had this hawker come in, Seetoh, this Ang Mo chef, he said he #1 chef in the world. You want to take picture with me, you know? Huh? I said, well, you know, Ang Mo these days not much money. I think he want a discount. You just give him discount. He will come back one, sure. 3 days later, he showed me the picture. This was the Ang Mo who said he's #1 chef. I said, yeah. I'm afraid that's Farhan Adria. They celebrate, they love all these flavors. So I think there's more appreciation for our food by the foreigners than we do. So
This Seetoh is troubling, right?
Yeah, very.
Because okay, you remember what happened in Chinatown, okay?
which part?
Chinatown,
Which era?
Chinatown was going well, and then we destroyed it by going in there and making sure that Chinatown appeals to the tourists, right? We killed the flavor of Chinatown, right?
yeah.
And that experiment should become a Harvard Business School case study. How you can destroy the heritage that naturally
Of course, you've got
evolved.
to give the government here right of reply to
Right
say,
to
no,
reply
we did a
now.
good
But I'm
job.
sure they will reply. Same thing happened to Bugis Street, right?
Oh, Bugis.
Again, it is the instinct is always how do we cater to the tourists? What about catering to ourselves? What about doing what is good by ourselves?
People went to Chinatown and went to Bugis because Singaporeans went there. If a tourist go to a place and they see all tourists, they know they are in for a big con. Tourists now smart. They go online. They want to go where you go. Because if I come to a country and eat the way you eat and I go home, I take away the greatest culinary souvenir. I can't get anywhere else.
Now you have traveled to London, to New York, to Shanghai, to many other parts of the world, selling Singapore's brand, which is very much street food, right? Now, what's been the reception?
Yo, people cry, almost on the verge of crying. We go to New York, which is like 24 hours away, and these kids and these folks have been away from Singapore, and they see that hawker. I've been away for 30 years. I remember eating you at your little street stall down there. Today you're back down here. You see that moment, you can cry, you know, and the guy just eat there, and he's eating a slice of his heritage. The fellow eats, and the guy's lost for words and says, you are the same person. And then students, oh, my dad used to bring me to your stall, and then I'm so touched you're here today, blah, blah, blah. And you know what, the students got together.
Where in New York?
In New York. I think it's New York. Everybody, a few hundred of them got together. It was an idea suggested by one of the Singaporeans based down there for the longest time. Because students write a thank you card. A few hundred of them wrote in one sentence a heartfelt appreciation
To the hawker.
to the hawkers. You know, they go there, they won't make money. You know, these hawkers.
I mean,
go
our
there.
hawkers, this is part of the STB trip, is it?
No, this is the Prime Minister's office.
okay, Singapore Day,
event.
Singapore Day.
Yeah, I mean, they go down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hawkers, they give up a day, a few days,
Yeah.
and they go and do their gig down there. Never been done before, first time down there. And he was so touched. He was brought up at the event, and the DPM was mentioning.
So it
all
wasn't
this.
just the food; it was emotional.
It was very emotional.
Yeah. So
Try having burgers for like 6 months, and then you switch back to roti john or something, you know,
or potatoes.
or potatoes.
We have 3 more minutes. So let me ask you this question. This is the crux of the matter. This is so much a part of our culture. This is a place where we sit down and we sit down with people from all walks of life, whether it's watching soccer, whether it's watching general election in Singapore, whatever. It's building a community. It's not just the food, but the food becomes the icing on the cake. But is it in danger of dying? Because if you don't have people willing to be the cook, how is it going to survive?
Thank you. And that was our last 3 minutes. Thank you for watching, everybody. Yes, where is the next George Quek? Where is the next me? Who is going to be the next Boon Tong Kee? Where? You can't go to a school as fancy as this establishment and says, I'm going to be a street food entrepreneur. Who teaches
Why
you?
not?
Who's fit to teach? Who's learned a recipe, a great street food recipe does not a street food professional make.
So what are we going to do? We're just going to sit back and say, well, it's going to die a natural death.
We have to sit down. There has to be some, nothing here moves unless the good people up there move. There has to be willpower. Come together and says, listen, all these people, let's come together. What shall we do?
No, but if nothing is done, if there's no intervention at this point, tell me, Seetoh, what is the possibility? What's likely to happen in 10 years?
It's now stage 3.
Cancer.
This food cancer that we have. If nothing is done, it will just fade off, fade off, fade off, fade off. You get modern stuff. People will be eating whatever's trending online.
But not the street food culture.
They don't know. People can enjoy lor mee. Ask them to cook. People run out of things to block.
So do you think that this should be given a high priority because it is our culture? And I think even the Prime Minister and all the people who are making major decisions would agree with that.
2 or 3 days ago, Prime Minister just went on some show and said we have a problem with culture, identity, moving on.
Yeah.
We're all about KPIs and GDPs. And then in the newspapers, the Singapore Tourism Board has already said Singapore is no longer about little India and Chinatown. It's about street food, it's about music, it's about culture, it's about hip. But, hey, beyond that, what have we got? Kosong, nothing. So rhetoric.
So what is your inconvenient question for Singaporeans and for the government?
Are you sure?
If it is a good question, you should not be walking the streets tomorrow.
It's a good question. Are you sure we really want to preserve what's left of our culture via this food heritage? Or it's all just, oh, very nice, move along, next. Really, if it's all that great, what are we really doing? Let me quote something else. We spend so much money building one of the great ITE institutes, and we have great collaborations with all these shishi French chefs from around the world. I was just asking one of the people on there, so after all your collaborative efforts, all these top international institutions, what kind of monies do our kids come out and make? Let's be realistic, in a society like Singapore. What kinds of? And they said, about $1,000, $2,000, $300. To which I said, we were having dinner at our food court. I said, look at that cleaner on there I hired from another land. She's paid more.
So there has to be the will. And this country, our government, when it puts its mind to something, it'll happen.
Yeah, maybe it's because they don't know how.
Well, that's why we have people like you to make it happen, right?
You heard that?
Yeah. Okay. This is a trivia, right? This is to make sure that you get into real trouble. So listen carefully, since you like getting in trouble. If there is a dish that you'll pick that best describes the PAP, what will it be?
Very cheap, your question. Teochew mui. You have plain porridge, and you have so many. You have fish, you have eggs, you have pickled, you have tofu, you have meats and everything. But you only focus on the plain old Jane porridge.
And it's white.
You said that. Yeah.
Opposition.
Okay. Very strange to this area. Opposition. Hougang opposition area. Teochew food, okay.
So, is that a sign of nervousness?
To me, Singapore is not about main party or opposition. It's about who has this
Hello,
vision.
don't digress. Huh?
Don't
Answer my
digress.
question.
I won't answer it the way you want me to answer it.
So what do you think it is?
It will evolve.
So what's the dish? What's the dish?
Oh, you mean an opposition dish? Huh?
Yeah lah.
Oh, I see. Opposition dish would be in today's context. A badly done rojak.
Why?
You know, it's got the potential of being one stunning, like, I don't know what kind of dish, but I think they added the wrong, something in there is wrong. But I think you'll get there.
Now to redeem yourself, what's the dish that best describes you? It's badly done something, right?
What's the best? What's the dish that best describes you? Oh man. How would I answer that, man? I wake up every morning a different character. I would say rojak also lah. Perfectly done rojak.
Perfectly.
Perfectly done rojak.
Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this is the perfectly done rojak you're seeing with a hat. Well, this has been IQ Hit List with KF Seetoh, also known as the man who runs or who breathes Makansutra and street food. Well, log in to our website, www.iq.sg, to watch out for our next IQ Hit List. Post your comments on social media and let us know if there's someone you would like us to interview on HitList. And, well, click the links to see our guests, our other guests who have appeared on our previous episodes. Thank you.